Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another mildly interesting video. You know, the future can be a little concerning and a little uncertain at times, because we're constantly wondering about what's going to happen in the future. Will Elon Musk take over the world? What will I look like in the future? Now, I've actually found this one video on my laptop that tells me what I'm going to be looking like in 2049, so let's take a look. I'm gonna be honest with you, when the Cyberpunk Edgerunners anime was first announced by Netflix, I was kind of making fun of it with my friends, like, oh wow, it's not gonna turn out as good, they're gonna butcher up the game, the source material, like, all that stuff. And then the anime actually comes out, and it's got a pretty decent rating. The next day I checked again, it's only gone up, and the next day it's gone up. And right now it rests at 8.6 stars in my anime list. So around that point I was like, okay, well, this anime's gotta be pretty good, I've got to check it out. And now that I finally finished it, it's really phenomenal. It's really something else. It's an amazing self-contained story told through 10 episodes. And it also has one of the best visual experiences I've ever seen, besides like watching Demon Slayer. It's really something else. And in my opinion, this is one of the best animes that was produced last year. And I know that like everyone else has already made a video about it, but hey, you know what? I'm late to the party, but I can just probably contribute something to this party. So let's just get straight to it right now. Part 1, the visuals. I've got 2 words for you. Colorful, violence. I never thought that those 2 words would ever be with each other, but the way Studio Trigger designed the anime, visually speaking, it's amazing. It's colorful, it's vibrant. You get to feel the vibrant and the liveliness of Night City. The action scenes are incredibly smooth. You actually get to see what is going on, and it's so fun, it's so colorful, it's so smooth. You really get to feel the excitement of the action sequences. That's pretty much the best way I can describe the visuals of this anime. Colorful, violence. It is so colorful, it's so vibrant, it's so smooth, and it's a really amazing visual experience to witness and watch. It's really something else. Part 2, the soundtrack. Now, we have to talk about I Really Want to Stay at Your House. That's basically like the quote-unquote theme song, even though there's an opening and an ending song for the anime series. But the way that the story plays out, as well as the way that the track is used, it manages to start off as like a love song between these 2 new lovers, and it turns into like a funeral march in a way, like a requiem at the end, after like everything that we've been through. It's a great story that recontextualizes the entire song, and it produces an amazing ending. Okay, now let's talk about the opening and the ending of the song. The opening is great, it's catchy, it's amazing in my opinion, and I know that they're like reusing a track from like the 1980s, 1970s, 1990s, I don't really know too much about the song, but when I listen to it, it's really good, it's really catchy, it really like sets you in the mood somehow, even though like it's not like the techno like heavy dubstep thing that you expect with cyberpunk animes or shows, it's just a simple rock tune. It's really great. Part 3, the characters. David and Lucy's relationship throughout the entire series is really great. It really feels like raw. It feels like everything is supposed to be happening at that moment, and it all makes sense at the end. It's a realistic romance that takes place in this cyberpunk world somehow. And it's super interesting to see how these 2 people first meet up, how they go on their adventures together, what happens to their relationship in the in-between, and what happens at the end. It's really great. They all have great character arcs. David starts from somebody who has everything to lose yet still chooses to become a cyberpunk edgerunner in the cyberpunk world. Whereas Lucy in the beginning, she's basically this mysterious superior, like who is she? Why is she doing this? Why is she like turning to this life of crime? And it's really interesting and great to like see these 2 characters meet each other and see the toll that this life of crime takes on them in a way. It's really great, it's really interesting. And honestly, the way that they manage to build the relationship, it manages to make up for a satisfying, amazing ending. It's really something else. And all of the characters with what they do completely makes sense in the plot. Whatever the characters do, we can know for sure it's because something happened in the plot before this, and it was shown to us. So the result is that nothing feels forced or contrived, like, oh, this character suddenly does this because this just has to happen or else the plot can't move on. No, everything makes sense because of the plot that we've been shown to us. Speaking of the plot, if you've been watching the full runtime of this video, you probably know that I explained the plot a little bit. David is a boy who chooses to become a cyberpunk edgerunner, which is essentially a life of crime in this new world. It's incredibly interesting, and looking back at the plot, it feels like everything was connected with each other. Like everything that we see later on in the series happens because of something that happened earlier on before that. It really makes for a really satisfying watch, and even though there are some shocking plot twists, looking back, you realize, oh, so that's why this is happening, that's why that is happening. Like, everything makes sense, everything is connected with each other. Nothing feels forced or contrived, like, plot points are Like, plot points don't just suddenly appear because they were just written into the script hastily because they realized the plot can't move on without that. No, everything's connected from before. Every setup here has a payoff at the end, and it makes for an incredibly satisfying watch. Not only does every single setup has a payoff at the end to make for an amazing watch, the visuals are incredible as well, making sure that it's also a unique watch as well. Like, we've never seen this kind of rainbow spectrum of colors in such a gritty action series taking place in 2049, yet here we are. This is really a unique anime, and it's really one of the best that I have personally ever seen. And it's not just me saying this, because apparently this anime was so popular, it basically revived the popularity of Cyberpunk 2049 after the initial disastrous launch. So, that does beg the question, will I finally get the game after watching the anime? No!